Hello, everybody. Scott Golden with the WCW Saturday Night Review series here on Pro Wrestling Logic, and we are October 30th, 1993. Got about 6 or 7 1993 episodes left. Not exactly, a lot left, and certainly things slow down with what's available from that perspective. Interesting way to open the show as we have. Johnny B. Bad and Eric Watts, returning Eric Watts. Watts hasn't been on TV a lot as of late. Regal and Orndorff, two former television champions, or current television champions as it were, as tag team partners. And Watts and Regal square up pretty early. And needless to say, Watts is certainly a polarizing figure. I didn't even know he was still here near the end of 1993. Orndorff tags in and goes to battle with Johnny B. Bad, who's tagged in as well. Bad and Orndorff had a singles match the week before, and there's interference from Max Payne. Anyway, Regal comes in, tries to get a cravat and other basic holds on his opponent. They cut off the ring on Johnny B. Bad, do the heels for a couple of minutes. Worthwhile match from a psychological standpoint for a variety of reasons. Johnny B. Bad finds himself in a bear hug for a couple of minutes. Not good for him, but good for the pacing of the match. Watts comes back in, gets a hot tag, hits a couple of offensive maneuvers along the way, comes back in, but takes a good bit of punishment from Regal. They cut the ring off on Watts for several minutes. There is a double down, and ultimately, Max Payne does a run-in, hitting Regal in the process. And the idea that he is a babyface, he runs in with the double team, and the babyface turn of Max Payne is complete here, and so also is my need to get my phone. We'll be back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail with more action. And I mean, it's a difficult situation in the sense of the matches that are here as part of the WCW run are really more part of a deeper issue of kind of rebranding the company at the time. As we move forward, you see certainly a big rebranding by summer of 94 with Hogan coming in, and thus all of Hogan and Friends coming in, but we're not there yet. We're several months away from that. Ric Flair cuts a promo here, and going into Battle Royal, also talking about wanting to get the World Championship back, already kind of sort of putting into alignment matches with people like Vader and Sid and all of that. Ice Train up next, which is, certainly not a major, right home about it squash match. Tony Zane is his opponent here. Ice Train, they're continuing to build as a major, athletic guy. Big vertical suplex, power slam, and a 3 count for Train. Train hangs around for the next few years. Never really gained the level of value that is wanted. Nasty Boys talk about still being multi-time tag team champions. That's there. They're also beginning to plug the Battle Bowl pay-per-view, which is the random draw, pay-per-view. Conceptually, I liked the concept. I don't think they made the most of it, to be completely fair. Dustin Rhodes up next, and, coming off of the 1993 Halloween Havoc, Rhodes is still embittered into a series of matches with Steve Austin. Body slams, arm drags, and the like in the squash match here. Nothing really out of the ordinary. Certainly not a match that needs to be watched from a squash perspective. Rhodes still your U.S. champion, although he loses that in time for Starrcade. Rhodes wins the enhancement match with a bulldog and continues to talk about wanting to be on the top of guys like Steve Austin. Sid continuing his ascent, talks about wanting to destroy Ric Flair and be the master and ruler of the world, master of his own destiny. Sid kind of teasing a turn, but not really there yet. I don't know how they were going to necessarily get there fully in time. Uh, Austin and Pillman reunite. I think Pillman must have been injured at the time. Obviously, the Hollywood Blondes still a major tag team at this point, but they turn um, on each other within the next few months here as well, which is really sad because I think the Hollywood Blondes going at it for another couple of years would have been good for business. Um, punch kick, basic stuff, drop toe hold, and the double splash from the top by the Hollywood Blondes get a victory there. Colonel Parker tries to interfere and tries to demean Ryan Pillman, putting over Austin and trying to create dissension between the two. The Awesome Kong, or the Colossal Kongs, Awesome and King, are here. They're in a squash match. They go at each other, at their adversaries relatively simply. Nothing to write home about. Big power slam and splashes by the Kongs. Obviously, you're not going to see them do a heck of a lot. Harley races here, and he is talking to any team that he thinks can be destroyed by the Kongs. I don't know where they were going with the Kongs because they're not around a whole lot longer. Uncle Fred, aka the Shockmaster, up next in a enhancement talent match here. A diving bear hug is not exactly the best of situations. Really short match, enhancement talent dressed in all white, which doesn't exactly seem to be a good place to be either at this point. Takes a shot. The returning Hawk of the Legion of Doom Road Warriors is here hyping his return, talking about wanting to be at his best, talking about the return at the Battle Bowl thing. I don't necessarily know that he lasts too terribly long. I think he's here maybe half a year till mid 1993. He also has Japan commitments. Ricky Steamboat, former world champion, former 8-time tag team champion, is here in a match with Bobby Eaton, which is as good as one would expect it to be. Obviously, Steamboat and Eaton have crossed paths before, although not as much as one would think. Steamboat always having different things to do during the height of the Midnight Express, although they did cross paths upon occasion. Steamboat cinches up on the arm and kind of stays there for a little bit. Head scissors take over an arm scissors by Steamboat. Beautiful match if you're looking for basic psychology. Steamboat sent to the outside of the ring and gets basically waylaid there. And needless to say, Bobby Eaton, goes to the outside. Steamboat comes back in, cinches up on the hammerlock, drops the knee on the back of the hammerlock, and kind of stays with it there. Modified power slam by Eaton at a midpoint. Eaton continues to try to fight from underneath. Steamboat eventually gets the victory with a crossbody from the top on the inside, and that is there. They're hyping the Clash of the Champions and the upcoming matches therein. Flair and Sid out next in your main event. Flair and Sid, not exactly a barn burner of a match. Obviously, Sid overpowering. Colonel Robert Parker still out there as a affront to Sid, and Flair gets overpowered for quite a few minutes here. They give them about 15 or so minutes. Flair gets sent to the outside. Parker willing to do whatever it takes, including get involved in the match if needed. Flair comes back in, gets sent back to the outside, continue brawling, and a power slam by Sid back on the inside. Flair not looking particularly good in this particular endeavor, in the sense of continued choking and basic stuff. Not a match worth writing home about. Long bear hug spot in the middle. Flair looks exhausted, but trying to carry Sid probably would get you that way. Flair wraps the leg around the pole with about 4 minutes remaining in the match here, and needless to say, Flair not exactly enthralled with having to fight Sid at this level. Flair comes back in, kicking away at Sid, and Sid sends Flair into the top turnbuckle. Doesn't necessarily go well for Sid in that way, and continuation of trying to eliminate Flair. Flair gets kicked in the face with about 2 minutes left in the program. Not exactly a, you know, great match. Flair still fighting from underneath as we come to less than a minute left in the program. Flair has the figure four. Sid reverses it. Interference from Colonel Parker gets a disqualification victory. That will close us for this edition. We'll be back with more right after this.